This past summer, I had the incredible experience of going on a special Israel program called Camp Kobi. This program is similar to all other Israel programs in most aspects. We traveled throughout the entire country, went on lots of cool hikes, hit all the big tourist sites, went on some fun attractions, went to museums, we hiked up Masada, we did things like snorkeling a lot, paintballing, and overall, we all had an amazing time. However, the one thing which sets Camp Kobi apart from every other program is that we also got the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of children who have lost family to terrorism or through other unfortunate circumstances. But before I get into that, I want to give you guys some background. Sometime towards the beginning of the year, I was approached by an adult in my community in New Jersey. While he was living in America, I developed a relationship with him, and he told me that he was moving back to Israel, and he was going to be the head counselor of a program, Camp Kobi, and he wanted me to be a part of it. He briefly explained to me about this program, and in a nutshell, there's a camp in Israel called Camp Kobi, which was established for kids who had lost relatives to terrorists. It was then opened up to kids who had lost relatives for any other reasons. On the program, you go touring for 4 weeks, and you spend 1 week as a counselor at the camp. I didn't really give this program much thought at first, because I wanted to go on a different program that all my friends were going on. However, my parents had other plans. After hearing about Camp Kobi, my parents, with their tremendous love for Israel, decided that I was going to be a part of it. Also, they were unable to say no when they saw the price compared to the program I wanted to go on. Now I just want to show you a quick video about Camp Kobi.
Today we woke up at I think like 2 o'clock. We came to the Masada to do this hike. Most amazing experience. Put on our tefillin at sunrise.
I think that although it was a hard hike, it was so inspiring, and like I think everybody was so much in awe of how beautiful it was.
Right now, and it's the best experience ever. Camp Kobi has been amazing so far. Every moment has been exciting. There's never a dull moment.
Camp Kobi is a 5-week summer program where Jewish teens come to Israel to see the country, learn about the country, and experience the country. In addition, they volunteer as counselors for bereaved children who lost a relative in a terror attack or any other tragedy.
What brought me to Camp Kobi was, besides for the aspect of just like touring and hanging out with my friends, you also get to have a chesed part where you help out with kids who had losses in their lives.
It's just an awesome idea that you're not only coming to Israel to see the land, you're also coming to like help like the Jewish people, because we have like this saying that the Jewish people and the land of Israel and the Torah, they're all together. So when you're coming not only to see the land, but you're coming to help the people, so you're fulfilling 2 of those 3 things. And hopefully you're doing it with the Torah in mind.
I think that you come to Camp Kobi thinking that you're going to change the camper's life, but in reality you leave and they have impacted your life so much more than you could have ever imagined. Like,
I love seeing them smile. I love hearing their voices and seeing them laugh, and to know that I'm spending my summer making a difference in a kid's world where they may not always be happy and be smiling and having fun. That makes this summer so much more special to me than if I had done any other program other than Camp Kobi.
Having this week alone of just getting to know the kids is really something that sets this program apart.
You get the best of both worlds because you want to come to Israel on a touring program, and I honestly think Camp Kobi is the #1 program to come to Israel with, because you really get like such an incredible experience rather than just like coming to Israel and seeing. You get to do everything.
So many great great friends so far, and everyone's really come together to make every moment and every trip that much more fun and that much more meaningful.
You'll never experience such a thing. It's just one big family, a caring family. No one judges anyone.
Shalom, this is my place, yeah. Right here, this is home.
For the record, they actually pulled me out also to do a 15-minute interview, but because they didn't like enough to put it in the video.
We salute you for a second.
I was in it. The only problem was I didn't want to go on this program. First, as horrible as it may sound, I honestly wasn't interested in going to Israel to spend a portion of time volunteering at them. And yes, for those wondering, because I get this question a lot, I was not paid to work at camp. I wanted to go on a program that was strictly touring, but I would just have fun all day. I was also nervous about being a counselor. I did not think I had it in me to be a counselor for these kids who had experienced such traumatic tragedies as this. Also, I only had one other friend going. Fortunately, the kids on my program were a really great group of kids, and I ended up becoming very close with all 40 of them. However, to my parents' disappointment, I just wasn't interested. After much argument, debating, we finally decided I wouldn't go. Fast forward a couple of months to Pesach. Not really sure what happened, but one day I wake up and I realize I have to go on Camp Kobi. You can imagine my parents' response when after months of them trying to convince me to go, I come to them 2 months before it starts, telling them I want to go. I realized that if I didn't go, this would be something I would regret for the rest of my life. Part of it was definitely that I did not want to miss out on all the fun I knew I would have, but there was something else. After all of the horrible things that were going on in Israel, let alone the entire world, I realized that I had to do something about it. I'd had enough of all these terrorist attacks that were happening, specifically in Israel. I understood that being a counselor in Camp Kobi was something I had to do. This was the most effective way for me to counter the terrorist attacks. So after I was somehow able to get on Camp Kobi that late, the day finally came when we went to the airport and I got to meet everyone for the first time. Obviously, my family was the last family to leave, about 45 minutes after every other family left, embarrassing me the entire time. We got onto the plane, and after a long 12-hour flight, we landed in Israel. For me, I was fortunate enough to have already been in Israel a few times, but for several people on my program, this was their first time there. It was such a powerful experience seeing their reactions to being in the Holy Land for the first time. And what Camp Kobi does, which I thought was really cool, was the second we get off, we're whisked away to the Kotel, the Western Wall in Jerusalem. It had been a while since I was there, and I never realized what an amazing place it is. All different types of Jews, Orthodox, Christian, Orthodox, conservative, Reform, black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. They're all equally accepted and welcomed at the Kotel. And even on my program, we had different kids with different Jewish backgrounds. They all felt a strong connection to God standing there at the Kotel. None of us even cared about that. We all felt like one big family after only a few days, which I found was incredible. After that, the entire summer was just one long adventure with a few short breaks for sleep. I would call my parents at 3 or 4 in the morning Israel time to talk to them, telling them I had just gotten to bed. They thought I was crazy. But I explained to them that I'm never going to have another experience quite like this, and I don't want to waste it sleeping, even if that meant only getting 5 at most hours of sleep a night. I got to do the coolest things there. We did things like real rock climbing, jeeping in the desert, rafting, paintball, camelback riding, the Dead Sea, and we flew a lot, which I don't think any other program does. We got to do some of the inspirational and powerful things that Israel has to offer, like Yad Vashem, the Israeli Holocaust Museum. We spent a Shabbos at the Kotel, which is quite the experience. And we went to Independence Hall, the place where the state of Israel was created. Then, of course, it was the most incredible part of my summer, working at the Camp Kobi. So I want to show one more video that I think really expresses what Camp Kobi is all about.
He left in the morning,
And he said goodbye, and he went off with his friend, Shron, and they never came home.
He took a day off from school with a friend of his and came out here into the canyon to explore Israel, to explore his backyard. And he was trapped in this cave back there by 4 or 5 Palestinian terrorists.
They were beaten to death with rocks.
This is the cave where Kobi and Yosef were murdered. It's a place of great horror and great holiness at the same time.
I felt like I had no control and no understanding of the world. I felt that there had to be a God who had a much greater understanding than I could ever have, because I felt so limited. We were surrounded by people who took care of us physically and emotionally and spiritually, and were just there for us. And so all the love that people showed us gave us the power to feel that we could take this horror and cruelty and transform it into some kind of good in the world.
We were determined to create something out of the tragedy of Kobi's death.
We understood this horror of avelut, of grief, the sharpness of the grief and the intensity and the way it was like a wild animal. And we understood the way it hurt us and the way it hurt our children. And we saw that other families and children who had family members murdered by terrorists needed help, and that we could find a way to give them that help. So we got the idea to do a small camp for children who had relatives killed by terrorists in Israel. Now we have 600 kids in the camp.
It meets for about 15 or 20 days per year at 3 or 4 different times. These kids come back each time to their counselors and to their friends, so that they always have something to look forward to.
A lot of mothers, they don't give themselves time to grieve. They go right back to regular life. And even during the Shiva, they're already feeding other people and taking care of other people. And I got the idea that I should bring other women who'd suffered loss by having terrorists murder their children, bring them for 2-day healing programs. If you can find a way to put good into the world, then in a way you're bringing the dead person into the world, because all that good is created on the back of that person. Our camp is the happiest place in the world, because when you've hit the low of lows, also your high gets raised up. Like, you can reach an even greater joy because you know how great happiness is.
The way my program was structured is we split it into 2 groups because there were 2 one-week sessions at Camp Kobi. Half the group went for 1 session while the other toured, and then we switched. I was in the group that went on the 2nd session. So after touring together with the entire group, we split off early Sunday morning, took the long journey from Jerusalem all the way up north to the kibbutz, which Camp Kobi operates out of. We got there around 11, and then I had to spend the next few hours at orientation, which was honestly pretty boring, especially considering it was all in Hebrew. The majority of the counselors are Israeli, almost all of whom I later found out had once been campers themselves at the camp. We finished orientation and then had a meeting with the other counselors who were going to be in my group. The way that Camp Kobi is set up is there are 2 sessions, and within each session there are 4 groups of kids. The first session is totally separate, boys and girls, and is split into older kids and younger kids. The second session, which I was in, was co-ed and split into observant and non-observant kids, which was then split up into older and younger kids. There's also a group for high schoolers, but we were not their counselors because they were our age and were somewhat separate from the rest of the camp. I was put with the older kids, which is 6th through 8th, as opposed to the younger kids, which was kindergarten through 5th. I was with the older non-observant kids. I remember on Monday morning, a few hours before all the campers were going to show up, being really nervous that I was going to be unable to connect with them because of the language barrier. My Hebrew is not bad, but I was very concerned that it would still be an issue. We go to greet the kids off the bus, and I say, "Shalom." Right away they say, "Oh, you're American." After the embarrassment went away, I was very relieved when I realized that almost every single kid spoke at least a little English. I was able to immediately hit it off with my campers, and I could not have been more eager to develop a strong bond with them. Before we got to the camp, the head psychiatrist met with us, and she explained what goes on. She told us that it's very common for kids to just start talking to us and confide in us their problems and about their losses. I was honestly really hoping that my campers would feel comfortable and want to talk to me about any of their problems or the tragedies that happened to them, because I knew that meant I was doing a good job as a counselor and it would give me an opportunity to really help them. I could not have been more naive. I had a pretty rough first day. The whole day I'd been going around, meeting all my campers, and I went over to one of them, and we introduced ourselves, and after we had got past just our names, he says, "My mother was just killed 8 months ago." I literally had no idea what to say. It took me a few seconds just to process what he had said, partly because it was in Hebrew, and partly because I was just so shocked that he opened up to me just like that. I really had no idea what to say. All I could say was, "Wow, that's horrible. I'm so sorry." I was so upset at myself that I didn't say anything more, anything better than just sorry. So that night, I went to go speak to the head psychiatrist, who I had become friendly with, and I told her my dilemma, and asked her what I should do in a situation like that. This was her response: "There's no right answer. There are a million different things you can say, and it all depends on the kid and the situation. But even though I barely know you, I feel very confident that you'll be able to figure out the right thing to say." Needless to say, this was not very helpful, but it did make me feel somewhat better. Then things got even worse. We didn't have actual bunks in camp. There were just a bunch of hotel-like rooms, which had about 4 kids and a counselor. Originally, I was supposed to have an Israeli counselor in my room also, so I could have someone who spoke Hebrew fluently. For whatever reason, he was switched to a different room. That night, I get into bed, my campers are already sleeping, and I lie down, and all of a sudden I hear one start to cry. I immediately get up and go over to him and try to find out what's wrong and comfort him. Nothing. He won't say anything. He just hides under his covers. I'm sitting there for a few minutes trying to comfort him. No response. I realized there was nothing I could do, and I went back and lied down in bed. I felt horrible, and to make matters worse, I was forced to fall asleep listening to him cry, knowing there was nothing I could have done. I was not off to a good start, and I was really nervous that this was going to set up the rest of camp. The next day, everything changed. I started to really bond with my campers. They would ask to talk, and we would sit just talking about life for long periods of time. I got to laugh with them, joke with them, mess around with them. I could not have been more happy. I was finally connecting with these kids. This is pretty much what the rest of camp was like. We'd go to the fun activities like sports, swimming. We'd also go to the different therapeutic workshops they had. They had something called animal therapy. They had different therapists that would meet with us, do games, activities, speak with us. I just got to hang out with my campers. After that first day, my camp experience completely turned around, and it was just so amazing. I had gone into camp, hoping to make a difference in my campers' lives, and though I think and hope I was successful in doing that, they also had a major impact on me. I learned many things from these kids. One day, we went on a trip, and my co-counselors and I were looking for one of our campers. I happened to find him sitting all alone outside, so I went over to him. I could immediately tell something was wrong. He looked like he had been crying, so I sat down and asked what the matter was. He would not speak. This time, however, after being in camp for a few days, I was better prepared. Instead of unsuccessfully trying to get an answer out of him, I put my arm around him and just sat there with him in silence. After only a few seconds of this, I could tell that there was an immediate change in his mood. He lifted his head, wiped away his tears, and did not look nearly as upset as he had when I found him. What happened? Just the mere fact that I took the time to sit with him and show him that I was there for him was enough to cheer him up. This made me realize the true power of my actions. Sometimes all that a person needs to feel love is just for you to be there. And often, not only are words unnecessary, they're often ineffective. Just being there for a person and showing them you care is all they really need. The kids in Camp Kobi are truly incredible. On the last night, we do an activity where everyone sits on the floor in a circle, we dim the lights, and everyone who wants to shares their stories. As you can imagine, it is an incredibly emotional experience. This thing lasts for hours, and I'm sitting there listening to countless horrible stories these young kids are sharing. There was one kid who was sitting next to me, and he was talking about how he lost his mother because she was stabbed and killed by terrorists. This kid, maybe 11 or 12 years old, is talking about how his family was ripped apart because of an act of terrorism. Though it was hard for me to understand and I had to struggle to piece it all together, I got the general idea. Throughout his entire story, everyone is crying, listening to this kid. He's telling his story, there was not one dry eye. I was sitting there crying. He was crying throughout the entire thing. And when he's done with his story, he looks at me and he gives me a hug. This kid who lost his mother is comforting me. I could not believe it. This was a major wake-up call for me. It made me realize that any problems I had, no matter what they were nothing compared to what this kid was going through. If this didn't make me appreciate everything I'm fortunate enough to have, I don't know what could have. Let's go back to my first day in Israel when we went to the Kotel. They gave us pens and papers and had us write down our goals for the summer, and we sealed them in envelopes. Then on the last night of camp, we went back to the Kotel to open them. Of course, at first, we were just messing around, not taking it seriously, but I'm glad after we were done with that, I actually took this seriously and wrote down some meaningful goals. On the last night, I really didn't remember what I wrote down, and I assumed it was going to be something stupid. Among the things I wrote, one of my goals was to make a difference in at least one of my campers' lives. I am so happy that I can honestly say, with certainty, I achieved and exceeded my goal. Camp Kobi literally changed my life. I see it every day, the way I act, think, the decisions I make. This person that I am now is so much different than the person I was before I went to camp. This is all thanks to Camp Kobi, and it truly was the best summer ever. Camp Kobi is the most incredible place I've ever been to, and though you should all donate money to the shul, which is why we're all here at this breakfast, the Kobi Mandell Foundation heavily relies on donations and your support. I hope you all realize, as I do, how amazing this camp is, and I hope you will all consider helping to support it. Don't get me wrong, you should definitely all make very generous donations to the Door by Door. And I do know that you are all approached every year by many different organizations asking for money. But the Kobi Mandell Foundation is really one that needs it and deserves it. If anyone would like to, please see me. Also, a great way to show your support by going to the Comedy for Kobi Night, which is coming up. This is a great event where you get to go to a comedy show, and all the proceeds go to the Kobi Mandell Foundation, and I've been assured it's going to be a lot of fun. It's on Saturday night, November 12th in Teaneck, New Jersey. Now, this happens to be the same night as Trivia Bowl here, which you should definitely all go to. I've heard the hosts aren't too bad. But if for whatever reason you are not, and you want to go to New Jersey, yeah, I know. Let me know. Thank you all for listening. If anyone has any questions.